Drama, drama, and more drama. What an exciting day of football as the start of the quarterfinals of the FIFA World Cup served up action galore. Brazil were supposed to dance through to the last four in their quest for World Cup supremacy, but their hopes were ended in the most heartbreaking fashion. A determined Croatia side prevailed 4-2 on penalties, and then Argentina were held to 2-2 in full and extra time. Penalties again the deciding factor, and it was Argentina the winners at 4-3. What a day of sweet football. Tonight is a very special night. It's ladies' night. I'll be joined by our female analyst as we look at the first set of quarterfinals. I must also add that our director tonight handling things behind the scenes is also a lady, Dawn Greenwich. This is Match Day Live from the 246, sponsored by the Guardian Group. When we return, we'll meet the ladies and get right down to business in dissecting all the action from Qatar. And we are back. As promised, let's meet the ladies. Soraya Toppin-Herbert, Director of Women's Football Development in the Bahamas Football Association and a Barbados Senior Women's Team player. Good evening to you, Soraya.
Hi, good night.
Soraya's teammate, Amber the Silvia, midfielder in the Barbados Senior Women's Team. Hi, Amber.
Hey, how you doing?
And Ytannia Wiggins, former manager of the Barbados Women's Under-20 and senior teams and a certified referee and level 1 coach. Hi, Ytannia.
Hi, guys.
Now, right into the game that left many around the world heartbroken. Brazil were booted from the World Cup after losing in the quarterfinals for the 4th time in the last 5 tournaments. The pre-tournament favorites lost 4-2 in a penalty shootout to Croatia after playing out a 1-1 draw despite full and extra time. Croatia have now tied Germany's record of 4 victories in 4 World Cup shootouts. Let's take a look. And it's here that we must give props to our fellow analyst, Kenneth Onekwe, who called it as it happened, 1-1 Croatia to win on penalties. Now, Croatia beat on finalists 4 years ago. They are on track to make the wrong things right. Before getting into the penalties, let's look at the 120 minutes of play. Croatia are very well organized. They're a stubborn outfit, but they did not manage a shot on target until 4 minutes from the end of extra time, and that changed the entire game. Brazil, in contrast, had 11 shots on target. Possession for both teams were pretty even. Croatia 45%, Brazil 42%. Ytannia, Croatia deserve massive credit for their game plan. They used the technical ability of their midfielders. They kept a lot of slow down the game, they made it slow possession, not allowing Brazil time and enough to have the ball to create chances. What do you take about that game? What is your take on that game?
What a game, what a result. And if you think about it, the Cardiac Kids have done it once again in a knockout round in Qatar. I mean, football is brutal, and Brazil has encountered that fact with all it might today. Like you said, Croatia deserved massive credit for the game plan and the strategy. I mean, they were playing right out the hands of the individually talented Brazilians, and they kind of use the technical ability of the midfielders who play together over successive World Cups and really good to slow down the possession, like you said. And to me, that did not allow Brazil time enough on the ball to create enough chances. They were proficient with their ability to move the ball around in midfield, and at times they were pressing ahead very intensely, and in cases open up spaces behind them. To be honest, if you think about it, Dominic was the showstopper in goal. There's no ball, was impressively composed and solid in the event, and Modric was terrific in the middle.
Marquinhos.
His strategy was effective, but not enough to keep out Eminius from Neymar.
Now, after that good analysis that I got from Ytannia there in the game. So right, it went into penalties. My big question, I think everybody's asking, should have Neymar taken that first penalty? And is this his final World Cup? 30 years old, 124 Brazil appearances. He equaled Pele's tally of 77 for his national team. Where do you think Neymar goes from here?
So the first part, whether he should have taken the first penalty, I wouldn't say he necessarily had to take the first penalty. Probably should have gone a little higher in the order, maybe third, especially how things were going. When you know that that fourth shot could have been decided, you may need to just go third, calm the nerves a little bit, give your team some confidence. A little better than trying to go fifth and not getting to shoot at all. I've been there. It's no fun waiting to shoot fifth and never getting to shoot, and you have to bear the agony of that. So I think he should have gone a little earlier. Whether it's his last World Cup, I don't think so. I mean, at 30, he's still at 34. We've seen a lot of players in this World Cup at 34,
Mm-hmm.
38 even. So I think he still has another World Cup in him once he can stay as healthy as possible. I know he has some problem with staying healthy. So I think once he can stay healthy, once he can keep playing, we possibly will see Neymar back in 2026.
Now, with Neymar possibly back in that team, I'm going to go to you now, Amber. The next assignment is Argentina. How does Croatia go into that game?
It's going to kind of be business as usual for them, you know. They are definitely not a team lacking confidence. And what I like about this team is that no matter who they come up against, they're up for it. And I think that if you look at their last set of games, their last five like knockout games, they would have come from a goal behind to win the game. This is obviously excluding the final against France. So they're a group of fighters. As Itana pointed out, that midfield is such a well-oiled machine with Modric, Brozovic, and Kovacic that they don't stop running and they're not going to give up. And I think with that, it's just, yeah, they'll continue because why change something that's clearly working for them?
Okay, now it's a good time to take a break. Of course, we're going to look at Argentina when we come back. So don't go anywhere. You're watching Matchday live from the 246. Welcome back to Matchday Live. Just a reminder that you at home can weigh in on the discussion. We want to hear from you, the fans. The WhatsApp number is 228-5562. Also send your predictions for tomorrow's games to that same number. Now, we talk about Argentina. Lionel Messi's World Cup dream lives on after Argentina edged out the Netherlands on penalties after a hugely dramatic quarterfinal. A game of many flashpoints and more than a dozen yellow cards that went into penalties. Credit must be given though to the Netherlands who are truly putting up a fight, and here's how it went. Now, it was a very physical game, however, for both sides. Referee Antonio Mato called 48 fouls, gave out a record 17 yellow cards. Both teams on edge. They knew it was do or die. Soraya, Netherlands fought back after Argentina seemingly were up in control at 1-0. Weghorst, their main man, putting it level not once but twice. Would you say that they held their own in the match?
Well, I think they definitely stuck into the game to actually have a chance to actually come up with a draw at the end of full time. Um, I think Argentina probably maybe saw a bit of the better part of the game, but I think the game definitely showed that they had confidence in their tactical plan. They believed in whatever the coach was telling them to do because if you saw that last free kick in the 11th minute of added time at the end of the game, to be able to pull that out and to actually score from it shows that you have confidence in what you worked on the training pitch. So I think they went into the game, they believed and that they were going to stick to whatever Van Gaal, was telling them to do. And I think we saw that come out in the game. And I think, it maybe was a little bit too late and it wasn't enough to hold them off in penalties. To help them in penalties.
Speaking of penalties, it's only the second time Argentina has reached the last four since 1990, and the penalties seem to be the order of the day for the bigger teams. Does the experience pay off when it gets down to that nitty-gritty stage, Ytannia?
I mean, it really does. One of our fellow analysts, and most people say penalties are like a lottery, but experience does and calming the nerves. And if you think about it, I mean, sadly, the Netherlands and this story always unlucky against the Argentinians kind of come again today. I want to circle back to what Soraya said. I think the Van Gaal, like when he switched up his strategy from long ball, I mean, like Horse on loan from Burnley, and I think the game came to penalties and the goalkeepers stepped up. Martinez, if you saw his dance, I mean, he was amazing. And if we look forward to other games and it come into penalties, I think other goalkeepers are going to have to kind of sharpen themselves as well as the players.
Now, for you, Amber, Argentina is favored in their upcoming match against Croatia, but let's not forget that Croatia would have beaten them 3-0 in the group stage in 2018. How much will that match from 2018 play on the minds of the Argentine players, and in fact, the display that they had against Brazil today?
Yeah, for sure it would be in their back of the mind somewhat. But again, football is played on the day. And while Argentina have been a bit underwhelming, they got a certain man in their team that when he's ready, he just puts on a little magic and flips the game upside down. So I think, again, it would be something that's considered and it would be discussed, but it won't be focused on. And they would just, Croatia will go about their business as usual. I think it's going to be a very physical game. It's going to be an evenly contested game. And you might see a few tactical changes on Argentina's side as they have one suspension and may see Di Maria if he's fit. Di Maria is a very creative player, but he's also hardworking. And I think you're going to need everybody to be willing and able to go the distance. So it should be good. It should be very good.
And for those persons who don't know, that special man from Argentina is Messi that Amber is speaking about.
Yes.
Now it's a good time to look at our CBC Fantasy Football League leaderboard. Rice and Sue is still out front with 307 points. We have a change in second and third places. FPL Mel is now second with 277, and as you rule, Bajan Boys 276. Rice and Sue picked up 22 match points today. At the bottom of the screen, we have been running your predictions for tomorrow's games as well. Don't forget to send your predictions and your opinions on the World Cup via WhatsApp to 228-5562. Now is a good time to take a break. Up next, we have our play of the day, your WhatsApp post, and of course, a look at tomorrow's fixtures. And it's time now for our play of the day. And it's substitute Bruno Petkovic, who in the 117th minute shot for Croatia to equalize with Brazil. It was Croatia's first shot on target in the match and the game's turning point. There's a question. Now, our football fans have been having their say, especially after today's match. Let's look at some of the WhatsApp messages and we'll engage our analysts in this. Of course, girls, before we even look at the WhatsApp messages that have been sent in, one of the questions that we should put to task is, are these teams playing based on talent, or are they playing based on the fact that it's experienced as a unit? I want to hit Soraya on this one. Soraya, is it the talent of the individual players or the unity that's mattering right now?
Woke up with the upset, the so-called upsets, and especially the game today with Croatia, is that the team as a unit has been succeeding. Whether that be because they're playing tactically disciplined football, so they're working as a unit both on the attack and as the defense, and I think that worked really well for Croatia today. But you still need that kind of as you will say razzle dazzle, individual talent But when we rely solely on that or a few players, we find that those teams haven't been doing as well. And I think that's the way that football is going globally, where you may find some countries that maybe they don't have that international renowned star that we all know, but as a team, they come together and they play really well together. They work together for each other. And those are the teams that have been succeeding.
So it's unity over individual talent.
Yes.
Everybody agrees. Now, I'm going to take this one to Ytannia. Somebody is saying here that the commentary in the football can be a bit biased. I don't think in their commentary. I think they mean the refereeing at this stage, because they say Messi, who is on a yellow card, also purposefully handled the ball. Why didn't he receive a red card?
That's definitely one for the books and any trained referee. As my fellow analysts always say, you need to read the rules, and VAR always comes into play. But I like to say VAR is always the decision of the referee. So VAR error is human error. So I mean that one is up for debate, and I think it will be from now to the next World Cup. I mean the games are over. Who is true, and we can't change the results.
But let's tackle this one together. The Brazil fans fail to understand that the players are technically gifted but are not tactically intelligent. What do you think about that statement?
The Barbados public might not like me so much, but I think this is a really good message and they're pretty on point with it, because obviously we know about the flair and the technical ability of the Brazilian players. There's no doubt about that, but look at today's game. They weren't able to see out the end of the game. So they were leading from, I think Neymar scored in the 105th minute, and they had 15 more minutes to see it out, and they weren't able to do that. And I think that has been their demise in previous World Cups. They've struggled to reach past the quarterfinals for, I think, the last 4 years. And it's not about the talent, it's about the tactical. So a lot of people have questions over their coach for a long time now, and we'll see if this is the breaking point, if they'll look to someone a little bit tactically stronger. But is it because they maybe focus so much on their talent that they think that they could forget about the tactical side? Who knows? But they certainly need to look into that and address that.
Now, Soraya, is Croatia truly a nightmare for Argentina?
I think the way that Croatia is currently playing, their tactical discipline and the way that they play as a unit will pose some threats to Argentina. I think Argentina is, the way that they play today, they're going to get scrappy. But I think even though Croatia can also get scrappy, they're a bit more disciplined. So that may be more to their benefit.
No,
Unless
Ytannia,
Amber
this
said
person is saying
Messi
that.
shows up.
Unless Messi shows up. And speaking about, no, it goes right into this particular WhatsApp where they say Argentina have a dream run, but they're barely scoring goals. They struggle against the press and have not played well, or a well-organized goal-scoring team. Ytannia, do you think the lack of goals is important at this stage, or is it that one is enough to advance?
It depends on who you're playing. You have to be tactical. Goals win games. We've seen that. Without goals, you go to penalties. So I think Messi may have to step up, but I'm going with Soraya's. It's a team effort. Although Messi with his razzle-dazzle, and he carried the team and he scored from the penalty spot. And right now he has 10 goals in this World Cup. He's tied with Batistuta for the most goals in Argentina. But let's face it, goals win games. And if you don't take those chances early on, if that's one thing this World Cup has shown us, not taking chances lead to penalties.
No, we look ahead to tomorrow, Morocco versus Portugal. The Moroccan coach, Reguilón, says his side feel the support of all the African and Arabic people. They aim to make World Cup history. Is that extra pressure for them, Amber?
No, there's no pressure for Morocco. They are just able to play and enjoy the moment. So they have that luxury, and it's just an exciting time for them. So definitely the pressure is on Portugal, especially after that 6-1 display. So they could just enjoy themselves, really.
And Soraya, I'm going to let you tackle England versus France. It's the toughest test so far for Gareth Southgate and his Three Lions. How will they line up and deal with the current holders and one of the most impressive teams in the tournament so far?
Well, I feel like England probably going into the game would feel like they have a more holistic team, especially defensively, than maybe France. But I think they're going to have a hard time trying to handle Mbappe. I think that will be the key to tomorrow, to see how well they can handle him and influence his impact on France. And so I think for them that's the key going into tomorrow. because he's been having a lot of impact for France. Even Dembele has been playing well as well. So I think for England, they're going to have to figure out how they can really kind of stop France's attack, because I think coming into the last couple of games, they've really been working well together. So that will be, I think, the key for them.
Okay, now I'm going to quickly put everybody on the spot with predictions for tomorrow. Let's start with that first game between England. Let's start with England and France one, which is the one that everybody's watching on. Once I call it the World Cup finals. So give me some quick predictions for that game. Ytannia, you can go first.
I think given the strength of both teams, this will also go to penalties, and I'm going to give it to France on penalties.
And how about you, Soraya?
I'm going to try to save the heartache and go 2-1 to France in regular time, avoiding penalties.
With heartache. Amber, for you.
I was thinking to say this, Soraya, 2-1 to France. No extra time. Just
no extra time. And how about Morocco and Portugal? Two teams that are fighting it out.
I think that will go to penalties.
That one. For you, Soraya?
Yeah.
Amber, you know what you were saying, Amber?
And Portugal to prevail on penalties.
Okay. Soraya, for you?
I'm going to go penalties, but I think Morocco will pull another superb penalty shootout. They'll win.
Do you agree, Ytannia?
I think Portugal has been effective, if unspectacular, and with the out of form Ronaldo and maybe on the bench, we'll see. I may think Portugal might pull this off, but Morocco has no pressure, and when there's no pressure, I think you enjoy the game more, and with no pressure, we'll see what will happen tomorrow.
I'm not going to put myself in these predictions. I'm just going to say I made the best teams win. Because you can't predict this World Cup at all. Well, that's it for our show tonight. The ladies were in the house, and we hand over to the men tomorrow. On behalf of my entire team, the Analyst, Amber, Ytannia, and Soraya, thank you so much. My entire crew, especially the lady in the director's chair, Dawn Greenwich. It was truly ladies' night. This has been Matchday Live from the 246, sponsored by Guardian Group. I'm Anne-Marie Burke. Good evening.